Fangirl on the outside, running on. Princess Grace the inside from Zaki, and now Fangirl is starting to lengthen. Fangirl wide out. Princess Grace the inside. Princess Grace and Fangirl. Fangirl won the Wing Stakes.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I'm joined in studio with Johnny Walter. How are you, Johnny? Off the back of Randwick Kenzo yesterday, it was a debacle. That.
Yeah, well, it was back to the Kenzo of old, wasn't it? Like it's used to someone pee on the track, it'd be outside fence, and it's been playing good, and then they put the rail out. You wonder why, and then by race 3, Karen took a couple extra races to work out it was outside fence. Nash worked it out pretty quick and did what he does, and J-Mac rode the mate. That makes him look like a blind man when he's on a half decent chance, and the rest aren't. It's crazy.
Awful. After about race 4, I'd had enough. I tapped out and I started to look at Saturday's races, and I tell you what, I sort of got a bit of a chubby last week about the races, but I've sort of lost that looking at the fields on Saturday. But we'll find a way. We'll keep on betting. Nico, you've lost a soldier down there. You're going to do the old work from home, and DK's got a sniffle. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. He's maybe got COVID or something round 2, but hopefully DK's all sweet. But yep, on our lonesome down here, yeah, like you said, just last week was outstanding racing, wasn't it? With sort of the Group 1 up in Sydney, and then the PB Lawrence, Mr. Brightside, big winner. And then this week we're back to Death Valley and Rosehill, which seemingly looks like a sort of a midweek sort of standard of program with a lot of benchmark racing there. So they do have 2 good races up there.
It's a Wednesday card until race 7.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird. Yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of Wednesday, Sandown was all right yesterday for you, Nico?
Yeah, we had a strip out race 1, but we sort of clawed our way back. We probably should have had a big result in the staying race. Found the trifecta, but the Sabre won and the other 2 couldn't get the job done. But I feel like we're seeing them okay. I feel like we're a bit in the zone at the moment. So hopefully Saturday's a good day, and probably about our level, just off the real peak racing. And it probably isn't much better than a sort of midweek standard of program anyway. So we'll do our best there.
A couple of nice wins. Poison Chalice was one, Electric Impulse the other, and What a Deal looks like it's come back. So they're probably 3 decent horses to follow. And what can we talk about this week? It's interesting. Some of the tactics are pretty strange. Last week I sort of caught one, Aegon. I know they went quick, but blinkers on, but then they settled last. That horse just roared home for second. So got one there, but a little just maybe just a point or a topic to discuss. Who are the best and worst stables and jockeys for tactics? I did see that your girl, Rachel Schumacher's won from her last 50 rides.
And now she's on a first-class flight to Japan to represent Australia, England, Tanzania, and someone else. I think she's representing half the planet.
You got that one right then.
Yeah. If you got nothing nice to say nothing at all.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, to me, the like I don't watch Melbourne as much. So, but some of the stable riders and things just not matching up with the stables for mine much at the moment. Like you've got say horses, stables like Hawks who like to have their horses ridden a little bit pretty, might suit jockeys more like your Bowman, Collett mould of horses, riders, and they're putting inexperienced riders on a lot. So, finding a lot of trouble. It's just there's mismatches. Snowden's a bit the same.
Kieran Maher finding some real weird riders.
Yeah, and Annabelle is the most mystifying at times. It's just weird. At the moment, it seems a bit of a mismatch, so it's hard to find. Like you've also, Timmy and Hippo and everyone riding for Gay are the outlier at the moment. When you know what you're always going to get, a hard-fit horse put up on speed, they're a glorious horse to find if you find them in a race at the moment, because it takes most of the guesswork out. But it's not as if everyone's riding poorly or anything. It's just not everyone suits stables. It just seems that we're going through a period where people are matched up a little bit incorrectly. Yeah. So Bjorn and Rachel are a bit similar.
What about you, Nico? Notice any interesting patterns or frustrating jockey tactics and stables doing funny things down in Victoria? Or
I think the most noticeable thing was probably last week with, D Lane and B Shit absolutely dominating the day at Caulfield. So, you put the class jockeys on and you half get a change of tactics anyway when a rider like B Shit goes aboard with Via. We're sitting well back in the field, and then sort of her last few runs, he's been able to put her up right on top of the speed. So you definitely factor it in with riders like that. But we saw yesterday, Brayson Kingdom, he was absolutely smashed against Poison Chalice. Tactics change came through. He was going to go forward, and then the rider just couldn't get him into that position. So I do think it does have some weight, what jockey do you have on to do that? Because if you have a jockey that's not the best at getting him out of the gates, well, in that case, Praising Kingdom couldn't cross about 8 other horses, and then the market's sort of completely wrong, thinking he might find the lead, and he's all of a sudden behind Poison Charles in the run, and you probably swap the betting then. So, you probably just have to have the right men on for the job, but that was pretty evident last Saturday with D Lane and B Shin, but they're gone for this Saturday. They're both suspended. So I think Zara is probably the big go-to man at the Valley, and expecting him to probably have a big day.
It's rarely talked about, what you just said, like everyone thinks about a horse having speed. They never think about riders and their influence. And, like Shin's a great example of, I think he got beat on one as well last Saturday, but he put it, 2 or 3 lengths closer in the right spot, it had every possible. And he just, it's a superpower, and there's definitely the opposite out there as well, like riders who tend to be a length or, half
so
length
negative.
slow, and that's all it needs to be. Whereas if you've got the opposite, it's literally game changing for particular horses.
It's a funny one. I remember just digging out some stats and playing around with models at Betfair, and Tommy Berry sort of skewed high at Warwick Farm. Some jockeys just ride certain tracks so well. Craig Newart at Stony Creek.
He's the king of the anchor drop, Tommy. So I don't know whether it's whether that's suited to Warwick Farm. Maybe you can sort of, if you pinch a bit there and scoot off the bend. I don't know. There'd be a reason for it if you sort of, because most of those riders are pretty consistent. It's weird. Like I remember, like Jason Collett's got one of the better records on rolling forward on horses, and he just doesn't do it very often. It's
frustrating.
Whether it's the stables he rides for or he's just feels more comfortable stalking, I'm not sure. But there's certainly a few out there that have, potential if they change the way they approach things a little bit. And that's Shin's the ideal example. It's a bit weird. When you think of J-Mac, he's good, but you can't. He's probably just good at everything to a certain degree. Whereas, Shin's just I don't know. He's just a little bit different.
On Monday, Bullock flexed his muscles at Scone. I tell you what, he absolutely crushed me. I took him on a couple of times and learnt the hard way.
You got to. The horses that he's on every now and then, you just got to. But he's just, when he's on that particular type of horse that's, they've got a bit of toughness about them, he adds like 2 or 3 lengths. And, again, not having a crack at the ones around him, he sort of plays them off a break, doesn't he? He gets them a length closer. He hates leading, but he can still get them that little bit closer in the run, and then he can get more out of them in the straight in the country races. Like it's immeasurable what he's worth in the last 200 metres, unless you're on Sightseer at Musselbrook. I think we're on the only one he's got beaten a photo in about the last 3.5 years. But no, it's he's a nightmare, because if he's on the horse you want to take on, he does everything he can to get him home, doesn't he, every time? So.
Yeah, it cost me a fortune on Monday. Absolutely disgusting, but we battle on. It's going to be a pretty good show here, even without DK. He's been rubbing everyone up a little bit and throwing lots of fuel on the fire, but Donnie needs to fire up a little bit. He copped a bad scratching. He found an absolute beauty. Hell of a deal, got scratched. So he's going to go value hunting at Doomben. Walt, as we sort of mentioned, Rosehill this week, it's pretty lacklustre the fields, a little bit disappointing given the abundance of prize money there, and just seems there's a billion scratchings all around Australia, all down the East Coast. It's crazy. There's just too many options at the moment for trainers. Nico, Moonee Valley is not really your happy hunting ground, but we are going to roll out your Telegram service for free for the rest of August. So if people haven't tried it, the link will be in our Discord chat, or if you can't access that, just direct message us on Twitter and you can have a free spin this Saturday and next Wednesday. The Assaulter from Malta is back. He's been head down, bum up, but he'll be hunting Rosehill and the Valley, so he's going to show a little bit of flair there. I think I might hang up the boots for a week or so.
I nearly went the Valley instead of Rosehill today. I nearly cast it completely. I was, especially when I saw that Nico sort of played away from the race that I'm interested in. I was like, geez, it is.
I nearly went the other way. I nearly went Rosehill over the Valley, so
we should have communicated. We should have swapped, because it's weird what they're doing in Sydney. You see yesterday, there's 7-horse fields, the rail's out, like 10-horse fields max, I think was what it is. And then he puts the Wednesday races on Saturday and moves the rail in to make the fields bigger. And you've basically got Wednesday horses racing for Saturday prize money. And I don't know anyone who really likes betting on them. You've got these 20-horse midways, and obviously there's a couple of really nice races there, the San Domenico and that, but they're good races, not great betting races. Hard to get your head around, which is fine, that's awesome. But it's strange tactics they're using to beef these Saturday cards up to get full fields, but they're not quality horses. It's weird.
Anyway, I might hang up the boots this week because Fangirl got the chocolates, and I might have to.
Oh, is that it? You're just hanging them up.
Press conference. Yeah, well, that's what you do. You declare one, it pisses
you land
in.
one act of God, and you just. How are you feeling?
I probably got a little bit lucky.
Not really. It was always going to be slowly running,
He gave it
best
a peach.
sprint and everything, but he did have it that length closer you wanted and got it out when it needed to get out. But the horse on the inside when it spread would have given you a nice sphincter of shrinkage. Yeah,
it's definitely
Jeez, it's a
the
good
horse
horse
to
that-
follow, probably.
Princess Grace or something is a good horse.
Speaking of tightening and tensing up, skirt the law, Nico, you put the pen through it. It was a TopSport Steamer. How's the ticker coming up the home straight? I tell you what, this horse, it's got a will to win. It's got some tenacity, this thing.
Yeah, well, when I did the race, it was sort of, 5 other horses in the race, and 4 of them I liked to come out. So by the time I got to Saturday, I was like, this is a completely different race than what I thought it would be. And then obviously seeing her in the yard, the Macbeth boys are right. She's a pretty good type. She probably needed the run from a yard point of view, so I was not too concerned. But we had Charmstone on top from the yard. We probably should have backed her in hindsight, given I was a bit against Skirt the Wall. But I think out of Saturday, they've run a pretty good overall figure. She'll be hard to beat next start. Probably underrated her somewhat, but not going to be doing that next start. Probably want to back her, to be honest. So that's just the way the game is sometimes, isn't it?
Charmstone had its chance to
hate to
turn it
love.
up too. I thought it was a pretty good win. It sort of threatened to come back, the other one, and maybe its fitness gave out, but it was a pretty strong win.
Tough little filly, the Gollum one there, Skirt Law. So definitely one to follow. Make sure you're having a bet this week at TopSport. We've got a little special later on in the show, a little Scooty as a double. So I'm not completely retired. I think there's a couple of good things at Moonee Valley. So we've got a little top 2 special. So make sure you join TopSport. They've been in the game for 40 years. You can trust them. They help us deliver all our streams. I think the weather looks okay for the Valley. And the first race that you're going to have a look at here, Nico, is race 5. And it'll be interesting to see how the track plays. Early betting at Moonee Valley has been pretty diabolical at the moment, but race 5 is a bit of a safe one. 2,500 metre race. Magnus Spin's a favourite, 310. Bainbridge at 750. Noonan is $8. Wuds is $8.50. Strawberry Rock $9. Farrago $9. Duke of Hastings $14. United Nations $17, and then you got Pearl Rain at $17. Orbital Express is $18, and the horse that you like is a Sydney sider here, Nico, United Nations, and here it is at Rosehill over 2,400. It's in a bit of a bumping duel. And it's got the red and the blue and white sleeves there. Tails off here.
It's nearly in the fire-up colours, really. But, as you said, got into the bumping jaw in the corner there, really lost his momentum. He was 18 up to 2,400 on this day. He sort of goes to the line. You think, he's only going okay there. He's still run the second fastest last 200 of the race. So I think that bump on the corner really just sucked the wind out of him. First up, he also ran the second fastest last 200 of the race. So that would be an indication for mine that the horse is going pretty well, although he's sort of run third last and second last in his 2 starts. I think this isn't the strongest sort of Saturday race. You get Mark Zara going aboard. I know he had J-Mac last start, but you lose nothing there. He's probably the best rider at the meeting. And then you look through the rest of the field and I couldn't mark Magnus be in favourite. He had the absolute PR last start at Moonee Valley. He was probably a bit of a question mark at 2,000. He ran that out, but now he's up to 2,500. First go against the older horses. He looks an easy risk. And then you're kind of with, Bainbridge, who's been, a tough sort of on-pace galloper the last 2 meetings at the Valley, but he's probably had a few things in his favour and he's gone really quick in those 2 races, just how much left in the tank there. Wads was on the fence last start, looked good, but had every possible. Farrago, he's easy enough to beat. And then sort of Zaynud, and we backed him last week at the midweek. So this horse is coming through probably some of the better form lines. Zara on, Mar Eustace, Barrier 15 is a little bit tricky, but I feel like if the track is playing mad on speed and they want to win this race, they might just put him right up there. Tactics change potentially from that draw, or he can go back if it's, relatively fair. I think the lanes to be probably be lane 1 and 2. Probably not as impactful in the staying race, given it's over a lot further than sort of some of the sprint races. But I think early on the card, that's probably would be your default position, but it will be a little bit tricky. I don't know if you want to be diving into anything early on this program, which is a bit of a downer, considering it's not a bad sort of betting card, a few of those early races, and no one's probably going to be betting that much early because just don't know what you're going to get with this track pattern. So it's definitely hurting turnover, the way this track is playing, and I think something does need to sort of be done, especially if they're, the new sort of precinct and the new track is still sort of 3 or 4 years away or something like that, then we can't race on this track forever because it is absolutely cast. But United Nations, he just might get a few things in his favour here, can go forward or back. MZ in a pretty weak race. Thought sort of $17, $18 was well over the odds.
Not Metro standard, Nico. He's just keeps digging the boots in. It's fair enough too. And I think their turnovers down at Caulfield last week. I think it was down 7% like for like, and the extra race is the only thing, I guess, holding.
If it's down at Caulfield where we had perfect conditions, it's got to be down at Moonee Valley where, the meeting 2 meetings ago, the rail was out 5 and that inside lane was the best place to be. Then it went back to the true, then the fence was off, but still the best lane in the track was lane 5. So there's definitely some recent evidence to suggest that is the part of the track that's firmer than anywhere else, and they couldn't even rectify that after the last meeting. So rail out 5 on Saturday, rail out 4 on Saturday, so probably be lane 1 and 2 that could be red hot on Saturday off recent evidence, but we'll just sort of wait and see.
It's probably, when you see that horse pick itself back up, it's probably one of the better 7-length defeats if you, factor in the bump there. So might be a nice each-way bet there, United Nations. Not sure what Walt thinks of the Verona form line.
Mate, I don't know what that race was. I don't know. Too much for me, these staying races. I just said someone put a message, 32 races in Australia today, only one over a mile. That's one too many.
Right, we'll move on to race number 6 there. So nice little roughie to start the day, and you don't have to have much on to get a good result there. This is race 6. This is the TopSport top-up handicap over 1,200 metres. Inhibitions as favourite here, 420 into 390. Croatian Bell 650, Right to Party 750, Beauty Rising 750, Ifa Media $9, Ethereal Star $12, and No Darchi is 14. Hell Queen 15, Oz Empress $16. Inhibitions is the horse that you like here, Nico. And again, we're looking at the SF, and you're looking at the Godolphin Blue just in behind the speed, and in behind Taramina and Fuku Bana.
Yeah, I think the SF could be pretty strong on Saturday here at Melbourne because we just probably don't have a lot of our class horses running. She was a model beaten on this day. She definitely should have won. The winner come out run. It was okay. It was sort of the bunny there in the group race last week for the fillies. I don't think the race she tackles on Saturday is any stronger than that. She's back to the trials. She looked okay there, just sort of poked around. Her first trial leading to this campaign was pretty good. And then you go back and sort of look through her 4 lines last campaign, that win at Canterbury where she beat Tannhauser and so that from Random Muir and Tom Kitten. I think it definitely stacks up in a race like this because if you sort of nod on her, there's not a lot of other places to go. A lot of these fillies is kind of 1,000-metre fillies that are stretching out to 1,200 or they look like milers. So she just could get the perfect setup from barrier number 4, Malamon for Cummings. I was kind of surprised she wasn't shorter, and I'm not surprised to see the market is sort of gravitating towards her. I think she'll start clear favourite, just given how luckless she was last start. Still flashed home late, was good through the line. And in a race where if you probably nod on her, you're probably scratching your head a little bit because Croatian Bell's sort of second pick. She does have good Moonee Valley form, but she's got no 1,200-metre form. Beauty Rising's first up, Right to Party, comes back from Doomben, probably has to go back. And then sort of a few of the on-pace runners probably don't have the same class as Inhibition. So she's had a few cracks at it, and she's no superstar, but she's pretty consistent. I think if she runs up to sort of some of the ratings she did last campaign and sort of what she produced first up, I don't think she would have had to improve at all what she did off those 2 odd days to win in this race. So I just thought parking behind the speed, should get every possible. I think she'll be right in the finish. It's just whether she's good enough. And I'm sort of happy to find out at $4. I think it's a fair price. I'd probably have her closer to $3, to be honest. So I was happy with her. Probably is the best of the day.
It's there's not much to that field at all. It's pretty flimsy, that race.
Yeah, so I don't know the others, but its form's like solid. It's got horse form around, like not winning form a lot of the time, but it's the right strong sort of horses in Sydney, you would imagine, and that Taormina form, I think it's fine. Like she's, as you said, she's no star, but she's pretty solid. Like she'd start close enough to the side. I would have had her like $4 in this race, so got to have Inhibition shorter.
I think it's a good little race and bet to tackle. Can
I question you about race 1, or are you going to talk about that race still?
Oh, let's talk about race 1. We've got a little bit of time. I'm waiting for the assaulter to dial in. So race 1.
Tell me about race 1, Nico. Why is the years not even money?
It's a fair question. Jumped out super coming into this campaign. He's looked like an absolute rocket there at Flemington. Mancy, he's had a high rating race last start at Moonee Valley, and maybe they've gravitated towards him because he has the Moonee Valley form. And Muir's also run at Moonee Valley before. I think he might have won a race.
Won there twice, right? Yeah, but they were both. Yeah, I've watched it closely, and you'd think he's going to drop back, wouldn't you? Like you think he'd be giving Years probably 3 or 4 lengths of Mur. So, and same for Manzier.
So yeah,
potentially.
The way I sort of looked at the race, I thought Prince Zero, he's had 2,000 meter runs. He's pretty fast. Jay Caron, he'll probably lead. And then the Years is probably going quick with him, sort of probably outside leader. I think he'd get past Prince Zero. Jewel Bay's probably right up there. It was just probably the speed that I think has been factored into the
And they're both drawn
market.
inside. That's the only thing that's exactly 1 and 2 are the ones with speed. But if it crosses, it's over, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely he'd be the horse I'd want to back in the race. And there is a few sort of other things there, but you'd rather take sort of 440 about him than Mancier and Amur. So I can definitely see the love.
Yeah, I think it starts 6 to 4.
Absolute declaration. So that's Moonee Valley race 1, number 2, the Years. Get on early and get as much as you can afford responsibly on that one. Don't want to get in trouble. But race 4 Moonee Valley is an interesting one. One of mine, Hennessy Lake, goes around $3. I think we'll put this into our top 2 sort of special. I think it just blew out in condition last start, and it was a real solid run, and a little bit sick we didn't get the chocolates. I think it was like $6.50 or $8 into pretty short there at Flemington, and just condition gave out, and dirty old Braden Starr just got us. So that was a tough one to swallow in the Little Birdie Syndicate, but I'm going to throw that in as my first leg for the top 2 special. And the Assaulter from Malta is going to chime in shortly here, and he's got something on later on the cards. Okay, so that's Nico at the Valley. And again, we've got the little Telegram promo there, so you can get a free lick of Nico's stuff in the Discord channel, or private message or DM us on our Twitter handle, and we'll send you Nico's Telegram link. So hopefully he shoots straight at the Valley, and hopefully they get the track sorted there. But big welcome now to Jason AZZOPARDI, the Assaulter from Malta. He's been on holidays. He's looking good. He's tanned. He's fresh.
What's that hat, mate? What is it?
Great to see you. What's this USA 96? Trying to stay young, keep fresh. I'm still waiting for my Little Birdie cap to come in the mail. I must have got lost a few times. So still wearing this at the moment, but I'll hold out for Derby Day.
That's all right. How's the horse going? Struck by? You got swamped or blouse?
Struck gold. Yeah, it's going well.
Gold,
as I wanted to rename it John Walter after given we bought it with the King Colorado money. But no, look, it's exciting. We found it off that New Zealand maiden, and you buy it, get mates into it. To win the maiden by 4 pretty easily was exciting, and he was absolutely backed off the map at Seymour the other day, and nearly fell out of the gates, and just sort of over raced. Was a bit fierce, and I thought still ran well for second, albeit when they're $4 in the 250, you'd like them to win. But hey, that's why you shouldn't punt too much on horses you own, because you can let that sort of rule your mentality. But look, we're going to go to Anthony messaged us yesterday, and we're going to go to Sandown on Wednesday or Bendigo on Thursday in a 64. So excited to see how it'll go. There'll be an even stronger race again. So I'll probably give him one more and then tip him out. I think we've got a nice horse there for a few years, which is good.
That's great. Great effort. How's the tried horse market going? Well, it's still pretty hot. We tried to buy a jumper the other day. Our budget was 30 and it went for 70.
It's a bit more hit or miss. There's a few sneak through now, but yeah, it's not. It's still pretty strong. I think it's just because that level down just can't afford it, and the country trainers have no other option. They can't afford yearling, so they've kind of got to pay that little bit extra and hope they can sell it to someone who's actually going to pay the bill. But it's I think that's going to hold the market up for a while. I think the yearlings will go down before the tried horses, probably because of that. They just can't afford to get horses any other way.
Yeah, fair enough too. All right, let's. Nico's given Moonee Valley track a fair pasting, not just this episode, but a couple of weeks ago as well. He reckons it's not up to Metro standard, but you're a fearless punter, Azza, so no doubt that you're going to plough into it. Race 9's
He'd bet on razor blades. He wouldn't care. He'd run on razor blades.
I couldn't agree more with Nico. That rail with the 5 metres out, the first meeting back was putrid and went back to true. And now this meeting's 4. So all I say is my motto with the Valley is no one beats the Valley. So everyone just be careful. have your one or two
Death
bets.
Valley, Money
Cop the
Valley.
loss.
It's got
The
a lot of
Valley
bad names,
beats-
isn't it?
The Valley beats everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. I do not care. I just tread warily with this rail 4 metres. I wanted to swerve it, but I've just found one there that is a horse going places, and I think
I'm doubling down on the
You
years
just gotta
now
keep-
after that
just keep
gutless
betting.
performance, that gutless speech. That's the most gutless thing I've ever heard from
I'm
Az's
going to
mouth
go
in my
bullish
life.
in the end, JW.
That's
Don't
all
worry
right.
about
That's all
that.
right.
I'm ready to attack today, Matty Hayden style.
Moonee Valley Race 9 is Az's best here. Booze Bud handicap 1,500 metres. Hopefully we've got enough money to share at the bar by this stage. St Lawrence is a favourite here. $2.10 for Carlyon. Deny Knowledge $6. Aaron Bay $6.50. French Emperor $9.50. Juniper $12. Regards Marie still going around $12. King Magnus $14. Papali, dual nominated, no rider, probably get scratched here, $19. Conqueror, $21. Ironclad, also a dual nominated, $31. And then Rebel Racer at $101. Horse we're going to have a look at here is St Lawrence, winning second up. Carlyon, strong win.
Yeah, look, there's been a bit of a boom on this horse. I think everyone knows it. It's won 6 from 7. Really sort of trotted up around them here. And look, I only beat Scantoon, who ran last in Kensington yesterday. Netanyahu, who's, a Wednesday borderline Saturday horse, and First Mate, who won that benchmark race last weekend. But I love the last 100 here. We just powered away. He was second up here, so took improvement out of that. Had a jump out in between. I like how they're just taking this horse through the grades. 1,500 metre looks ideal, and drops from like 60 kilos to 53 here, even though a bit up in grade. So I think it just map-wise, they're just positive. It sits sort of one by one. It's a race I think we can make money out of. I think it was 210 there. I thought it was 240 when I tipped it. I think you can probably get better than 210. I do think there's money to be made out of the race. I do think Deny Knowledge is a very good horse. Their last 6 starts or 7 starts have pretty much all been in group races. I see they swerved the PB Lawrence last week and kept her for this. Down in the weights, I know she's first up, but Nick Kent's a trainer that can, win first up over a trip with these horses. She's going to be map positive. Again, she's only got 52.5 as well. I thought they were probably the only 2 that could win it. So I'm going to look to make money out of this race, even with exactas, those 2 to win, and put those 2 with Aaron Bay for second. And I think we get the cash. So a race I like with very few winning chances.
It's a really strong win first up, this horse, St Lawrence, and then sort of a bit more workmanlike here, and probably just now looking for further. So 1,500 will probably suit. So I'm happy to go with you there, Azza. And we're going to put that into a top 2 special. So we're going to have Hennessy Lad with the top 2, and then St Lawrence top 2. So it's around $3.30, but Tristan's boosted it to $4. So if you go into thoroughbred specials, you can get the double there for $4. So I've popped my 100 on. And if you
How
want
much can we have on that?
$100 max bet. We just want everyone to share the love. You like it? Are you keen?
Oh, yeah. Can you make an exception for the
The
hosts
assaulter?
or the participants in the show, or what? And add a couple of zeros on?
How much you want on it?
Just send the Maltese
We can only
brothers
ask.
in, mate. Send the Maltese team in.
We can just put 1,000 through and see if they notice and see if it gets accepted.
I'll have 5.
All right, so as is keen, he likes it. Let's go to Rosehill. He's going to stomp on Walt's toes, and he's fearless here. This is a really tricky race. It started to give me a headache. It's race 7 at Rosehill. It's the up and coming stakes. Weather's all clear. Caballus is $3.30. La Vampires $3.50. Griff $8.50. Manwy $9.50. Tom Kitten $10. Toodle La Vida $15. Ducasse $16. Kintyre $17. NCAP $17. Cafe Millennium $18. Infatuation Hasty Honey well outside the market here. The replay we're going to have a look at here is NCAP G Portelli.
Ooh.
Tell
Here
us
it
why
is
you like
here
it.
in those Portelli colours, sort of on the turn, about third last, white cut. It sort of just got hampered at the start here. Gets out wide and absolutely savages the line. The winner and leader here is Les Vampires. It's equal favourite in this race. It's $3.60. They both dropped from like 59 down to 53 here. So me, NCAP should have beat Les Vampires here, over 1,200 at Warwick Farm. Step up to 1,300 at Rosehill. If you look at NCAP's first up run as well, it was an absolute moral beat. Go back and watch it. Absolutely extraordinary that one horse is $3.60 and now there's 20 into 17 now. There's no way there should be a price differential for these two horses. I think this horse has heaps of potential. And I can put a line through a lot of other horses in this race. I know Caballas was unlucky last start. The figures from that race are just okay. Shora can win, and Les Vampires is going to get Matt Favours in the 1,300-metre start at Rosehill where they hit a turn pretty quickly, and Timmy's going to be positive, no doubt. But I just can't have this horse double figures. I've got it. I marked it single figures. When I went to the odds, I couldn't believe it. I'll bet aggressively at $20. I don't think I can have any more on. It's getting a bit silly. It runs a drum. I'll be wrapped at $5, but I genuinely think it can win this race. Some of the horses that are priced under it, like Manway, I mean, yeah, it's run at Canterbury. It just looks like a very even field to me here, and I think this horse is every bit as good as them. The other bet I'm going to have in the race, which is $10, is Griff. Really like its run first up. I know there's a bit of susness about that Rosebud form, given they all finished together, but I still think most of them are better horses than here. It was 1,100, needs the extra ground, up to 13 here. Kieran on the minimum. I just think as well, it's going to run huge. And even a horse like Ducasse for the future, Barrier 1, I like it. It's got potential. It's $20. I'll be chopping out on it. I'm going to bet aggressively at big odds. I hope we get a result.
I tried to buy in cap after last start, and it's got 20 owners, and the managing owner's Portelli's wife, so we didn't have much joy there. But yeah, it's anyway.
So that's it's definitely a get on for both of you boys.
Yeah, I'm in line with
$17.
Like Griff. If Griff drew low, I'd be unloading. I just worry about what, as I said there, that wide draw, and I just want to see this horse ridden closer. I think it's a horse that
Griff.
Yeah, if it drew low, like you swap the gate with Ducasse, I'd be unloading. I completely agree with everything you said. Basically, like the Vampire's probably the one to catch. Caballas is just ridiculously short, getting deep into its first prep. It was unlucky the other day, but still, this is a different level of a race. Manway off a race where they handed at the front at Canterbury's half the price of NCAP just doesn't make sense. And I thought Tom Kitten was the only other horse that I could entertain at sort of double figure odds. It was so Tom Kitten, NCAP, and Griff were the three I thought were the value, and Griff just gonna get a nightmare of a run again. Tyler's not the one to drop the hammer usually, so maybe Griff next time, but probably don't want to lose on the race if it runs around. But I agree with everything you said for sure.
And Ducasse, what about this horse? It was sort of it's been in the abyss a bit. It's been nominated for so many races, and they're just picking and choosing, and now they've got suck draw here, Barrier 1, Chad.
Dangerous horse, but it's that sort of race. It's and
we're
even like
looking for it.
Kintyre's $19 and Caballas is 5-2, and like you say, NCAP's $19 and Le Vampire's is 5-2. What the hell?
The prices are wrong in this race. John, did you think that NCAP could go forward here?
No,
Hasn't
because
got
of the
their
way
speed?
Brett Preble, Portelli's obviously it's been ridden back and hit the line. He's just not one to change patterns. He'll just hope that a miracle happens and the seas part, and if not, he'll just blow up.
Yeah, okay. Well, then, look, there is a risk that Les Vampires gets just complete control here and Timmy just steals it.
That's my,
so I think,
might be an exotic
anyone
race.
taking quaddies, don't leave it out.
No.
But if there's just average speed here, I really think these horses can get over it.
And that's like exactly what I'd do. I'd leave Caballas out, stand Le Vampires out in a try from the value, and have something on the value horses as your result. Probably it's a weird race that you want to get sucked into betting more in, but it's a bit tough. If it was Ramwick, holy shit, what a race that'd be.
Oh, no, don't worry. And it's 6-metre rail as well, which was just, yeah, it's not everything's lined up, but again, they're just overs, these horses, in my opinion.
Nico might have a chubby for Tom Kitten, but 59 kilos sort of deflates.
Soft draw helps it. Big, strong horse. I don't think it'll matter for the 59, but yeah, it depends whether it's go day or not, I reckon.
Interesting one at Moonee Valley. Rockabilly Rebel's gone down. Bjorn snuck this one down. Craig Williams takes a ride, and it's been $17 to $12, and it's got the Kintyre form.
Yeah,
against
handed. That was an ugly race.
Fist of Fury.
I think look, it'll be Matt positive at the Valley. Brings different form.
So it's gone hasn't it gone Kembla, Grafton, Sydney, Melbourne? Holy crap!
Yeah. What race was it again?
Race 3 against Robrick.
Yeah, it's a very even race. That I thought Rick Raw ran well first start. I thought that Rob Rick was dynamic. It's just, again, it's just valley. You want to unload, I want to unload Rob Rick, but it just looks like a bigger track horse, and is he going to handle the valley? So just, but I thought Rob Rick was clear top pick there.
Just whatever you're going to put on Roderick, throw on the years, and you got 4.8 times your money. Everything's all right.
J. Walter declaration. Moonee Valley Race 1 the years. So make sure you chime into that. What else do you know, Azza? You got any other goss or news? Or feels like we haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, I'm hearing some goss about a prominent country Victorian trainer and his backroom staff, but I think we'll save it for next week at the moment. But there's some horses that are running very, very well at the moment. Very, very well. And there's a lethal combination behind it.
The midget might have moved stable. Remember the midget in the trapdoor? That was the greatest story ever. The midget used to come out and tube him out of the trapdoor in the truck. I've missed those days. It's been quiet in Melbourne lately.
There's someone who's not allowed to train that's doing a bit of work, I'm hearing.
No, that's if it's the same person you're talking. Like they publicly saying old mate's allowed to pre-train.
Yeah, he is.
Even though he doesn't have a lot. How's that possible?
Got a good combination of pre-trainer and vet. His trainer. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
There's a couple.
How can you be DQ'd and can pre-train?
Pre-trainers don't have to be registered, John.
How's that possible?
Don't have to be licensed, apparently.
That's crazy.
So jockey managers can't bet, but pre-trainers can be disqualified. That's an awesome gig.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Only in America.
I don't know what to say to that. But there is a couple of trainers that are just running through brick walls out in that sort of area of Western Victoria.
Yeah,
Horses
there's
absolutely
one at
driven
Mornington too that I think Nico must be saying. The one at Mornington, who's
Nico's definitely going to be silent here.
A very good strike rate. Oh no, I'm just saying they've got the Bright Oak stable have an amazing strike rate at the moment. Amazing strike.
The beauty of being a punter is we don't care how or why. We just observe patterns and bet to them.
Exactly.
We just
don't leave a Bright Oak horse out of your quaddy, even if it's at 100. That's all I'll tell you.
It's up to the stewards to worry about any of the other garbage.
Exactly. We're just guessing. We're just trying to make good guesses, informed guesses, and collect at the end of the day. Well, it's good to have you back, Azza.
Thanks, mate. It's exciting to be able to tip horses at 20s that are good horses. I like getting into the value and, looking forward to the spring and contributing. If you guys want me, I'll be happy to join. Thanks for having me.
That's great. No, it's good. We'll have you every week that you're available from here on in, and fingers crossed we can fill the boots. So make sure you
here comes NCAP.
NCAP. See, we started the show saying we're rubbishing the fields on Saturday. Now we've got a horn for about 6 different horses, and we're going to have a fill up.
Oh, there's so much pain. 5 metre rail at Moonee Valley, 6 metre rail at Rosehill. It's just pain central. It's awesome.
I know. Hey, I can't do next week, boys, but after that, I'm good for every other week.
Okay, brushing us. All right.
Yeah. I'm good anytime you need me, except next week.
Except next week. Sorry, boys.
Thanks, mate. All right. Well, good luck and enjoy the holiday. That's how good he's going.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks very much. Just keep punting.
There he is. So you can capitalise on the little top 2 special. So if you have got a small risk appetite, but still want to get a good price for the top 2, that Hennessy lad into St. Lawrence, we think they're going to go super, super close. So Tristan's kind enough to give us $4, $100 each. So everyone jump on board, and that'll be for TopSport account holders for that one. Puntingform.com.au, that's the database that I use. Have punting form, will travel, can take it anywhere, works overseas. You can do the form poolside from Bali, wherever you want to go. It's an absolute beauty. So make sure you check out puntingform.com.au. That's how I moonlight and step across all the different states with some sort of level of success. Obviously, Fangirl had a birthday last week, and that was an absolute beauty. I got a couple later in the show. I'm not going to preview.
There's no praise like self-praise.
Yeah, well, I've got to. Declared it. Moral. Race 10 at Rosehill. Your turn now, mate. Pioneer River's the favourite here at TopSport. $3.20, Diamond Dealer $5.50, Hell I Am $9, Astero $9.50, Lock Eagle $10, Brosnan $10, Rosita $13, Munitions $16, Kabling $16, Arts. That's a funny horse. $16, funny placement. Ed Cummings, and then you've got Delalat. He's $17, and then Cuban Royale $18. We're going to have a look at Diamond Dealer here. It's hemmed away on the fence. Looks like it's absolutely bolting there. And it's got the red sash.
Bolt the whole race. They came out intention to lead, which gave me a full horn. I've absolutely done my slot on this horse. I think 4 runs this time in. Enjoyed every moment of it. Just been carved every race. Finally get the intention to lead. She stays in the gates, hunts the crap out of it, and races fiercely up their backsides. The most important part here is the last 50 metres for me here is the horse was probably some sort of query to strong 1200, and for it to sort of race so keenly and still finish the race off there somewhat, I think that the winner of that race would be starting, I know it was pretty soft that day, but it'd be about $1.30 in this race. So down on the limit. Tyler's not one that's known for pushing the button, but I think the lead's there in this race. Probably McDonald, Pioneer Lass. What's it called? Pioneer? Something. River is the other horse with, I think it's got the blinkers on, could potentially there. There's one other sort of on-speed horse. I should know all this, but he's drawn underneath them all. And if the horse jumps cleanly at all, I think it'll lead and just be, given an aggressive ride and allowed to bowl this time. I think Pioneer Lass is in Melbourne as well, and I saw that it was still sort of stabled in Melbourne last time I checked. I don't know whether they've pulled it out or made a decision yet, but to be wary of that from a potential scratching perspective. Honestly, I'd rather it came out. I'd rather take 460 about this horse with Pioneer River out. But, this is D-Day. This is the last time I'll give this horse a chance. Very fit, inside draw, down in the weights, as I said, sort of like 6 metre rail at Rosehill and sort of get 9-2. I think this is its absolute D-Day, and as we've talked about the meeting, it's pretty tough. There's other sort of races you could find semi-angles in, but this is the only one I could find with any sort of conviction that looked like it was a solid play.
Rosetta, get too far back?
Yeah, that was it. I was just poking holes in all of the horses basically, and just hoping that he's the one that's fit, ready, and up on speed and out of trouble. And
weight.
It doesn't hurt. I know it's all bull, but Bjorn does love winning that last race for whatever reason. He's a sicko for it. So and this horse was in the last race last time. It shows with his changes of tactics, he really does put a lot of thought in to try to win them. And it's an absolutely useless stat, but it shows that he thinks about it and he has intent to try and win it. So that's enough for me to say that this horse will be on the job as much as it possibly can be, and a few of these horses will be using it as warm-ups into deeper preparations, whereas this horse basically is this is it for it, I'd say.
And any sort of pattern or bias, you'd just be stacking the chips up.
As long as the fence is good. I don't want it third the fence. You can see there, it's not the sort of horse you want bottled up. You'd rather it's sort of outside leader than behind it. You really want this horse to lead, and I think that they know that now. I didn't think LAM trialled any good. Astero sort of back the inside. Lock Eagles, good horse, but drawn 10. Brosnan's going to be out the back having a practice. You would imagine Rosetta the same. You can just pick holes in all these horses. I had a close look at the Trials of Arts. It certainly looked like it had plenty of work put into it, and it's not going to want 1,200 metres first up, even though it is dangerous, and Ed's always dangerous with these sorts of horses. There's just nothing that can really win apart from Pioneer River. Obviously, everything can win, but things have to go heavily in other horses' favour to get them over the line, whereas these two horses are going to be up out of trouble, hard fit, and really do find themselves. And like, what is it, $5 or $6 Diamond Dealer. So even with the scratching of Pioneer River, I'd prefer it, to be fair.
Just give it a good ride, Tyler.
Yeah, just get it out the gates. That's it. I wish Tim was on it, but 52. Good luck getting Tim at 52 many times a year, maybe for an Everest. That's about it.
Rachel off, Walt on. So it does pain him to tip Tyler Schiller. So this is a little
he's actually going
Reed Walt angle. I like this. If he finds Tyler, I want to be on.
He's riding well, but I think his only issue is he's a bit Collett-like. He can be a bit passive, but he can do it all. He's one in jockey who really is improving, and it's good to see. And I heard him even say that he's been talking to Michael Hawkes and he told him to stop doing so much form and tying himself down to speed maps and these sort of things. And whilst you may or may not agree with the advice he's getting, at least he's out there and actively trying to improve and work on things. I love hearing things like that. And he sounds like he's really motivated, which is good.
I'm motivated about this horse now as well. Racingwatch.com.au for more of Johnny's analysis. He's a master punter for a very good reason. You can just get his service from by the Telegram source on your app on your iPhone, or if you're anchored to the laptop like me and Nico and a few of the boys, you can jump in the chat room and be sick like the rest of them in there. All right, that's a good look at Moonee Valley and Sydney. Let's have a look at Donny's best up in Bris Vegas.
G'day, gents. This weekend's best bet comes up in race 9 at Doomben. Race 9, number 9, Hocker Hay. It's been carrying Sam Cott the last 3 or 4 starts. It actually got a win with her in the saddle, which is a rare feat for her at the moment. A. Jones gets on 1,600, barrier 3, so it should posse up. Should probably get 3 back the fence, which is not a bad spot for it. There's a fairly strong tempo predicted on paper, so it will, if it can angle clear at the top of the straight, it's going to be running home very hard. There's a lot of good gents in this race, but they're going to be much further back than Hocker Hay. So I think around $10 is a nice each way bet. So race 9, number 9, each way. Good luck.
Interesting one here. The horse that he tipped last weekend, Hell of a Deal, lines up here. So whether it's had a little bit of an issue or a temperature, or I've saved it for this week, does look a tougher race. So that's the 15 Hell of a Deal who Donny tipped last week. So I'm sure other people will be noticing that though. But this is a tricky race, so no surprise he's gone for something sort of around the $9 or $10 mark, I think.
Yeah, I like it. Hard fit, strong horse, on
big,
pace.
Big rider change as well. And that's,
Is she still an apprentice?
No, I think she's just come out of her time, Angela Jones, but she rides pretty good. And yeah, it's sort of big on jockey changes, and it's a real jockey's
boring,
episode.
wasn't it? I thought he was, he normally goes like Grafton into Doomben or something. Like
Little Friday Special.
That was like the Aldi bloody Express Lane version of Donny. Interesting.
One bet strategy. He hasn't found any of the little short morals. Anyway, that's Doomben. I haven't had a good look, so not sure there. Let's have a look at the TopSport Steamers. What did we have last week? Nelly got the lot with Skirt the Law. But the first one here is a horse that we've just mentioned earlier. Moonee Valley Race 3, number 3, Rob Rick, 1,000 at $3. That was in the race that the Assaulter discussed. Nico, you happy with that bet, 1,000 at $3? Or?
Yeah, I think $3 is a fair price. It's probably just a little bit of concern. He's getting deep into his first campaign off a really hot race last start, just if he's just a little bit flat. But I think if he's not, he's the winner. And the horse he beat, Gangitano, actually runs today at Pakenham, so you'll get a bit of a guide there. He's about $1.50, so he should be winning pretty convincingly, you would have thought. So you'll get a bit of a guide on that form. It did rate well last start, so I could see the love.
That's Azza for sure. It's probably not Azza, it's Paulie. It's his second personality that doesn't like to tell himself about that. Or just a little 1,000 just in case. Yeah,
wanted to launch, but I've had 1,000 anyway.
Yeah.
Moonee Valley Race 4, number 3, River Plate, 170 at $13. This is taking on my tip here, Hennessy Lad. There's a couple of good or interesting horses in here. I thought Legend of Dubai is an interesting one. I thought I'm a Shelby will improve again, but I thought Hennessy Lad was clear the horse to beat. Nico?
Yeah, it looks hard to beat Hennessy Lad. He's just probably going to need a bit of luck from the draw. There's lots of speed in that race, and he found a very similar race last campaign, 1,600 metres of Moonee Valley, where he drew barrier 2 and had no luck. I could see that happening again, to be honest. So that's probably the worry there, but River Plate, he probably needs to improve a bit off what he's done his last 2. He's a bit in the wilderness of his last 2 runs.
It's interesting. $17 into $9.50 at TopSport, and he's been beaten 6-3, and D. Oliver takes the ride now. So it's gone Danny Beasley to D. Oliver. So Danger Will Robinson, as Walt would say. Morpheville Race 1, number 3, Prince Joffre is the next bet, 800 at $3.60. Anyone?
Joffre, isn't it? The bloke from Coming to America.
This is Travis Doodle or Dowdle's runner here, so it's into $3.20 now. Lord Luca, Ammo or More, Easy Campese, and I'm Kenny. So good little push there, but not a race that I've had time to sit through.
No time to look. I thought you go Adelaide first.
No, I don't know. I don't go Adelaide first. I just go everywhere quickly. Just go a quick scan the
Someone
fields.
says, do it, so you're there.
Yeah,
then you go, do it there.
Yeah, I could bob all around the place with my little punting form
Bob
thing.
for apples.
Yeah. The next one is a bet for you, Walt. Race 10, number 1, Cuban Rail. So that's against
you can roll forward. It's sort of drawn wide first up. I'm not going to knock it. It's a monster bet. I can see why it's made the TopSport Steamers at $80 at 26.
It looks like a partial bet.
It must be the grandmother of the trainer or something, and they've just having a heart attack. They don't want to hold it.
Hannah Williams.
Yeah.
Claiming 3.
Yeah.
No good?
No, she's right. She shouldn't be riding in town, but yeah, she can ride, but just shouldn't be riding in town.
All right, that's the guts of the show. There's There's a little sneaky little bet I like in Adelaide is Papali, ex-Sydney horse. I thought she rattled home really well in the Edison race at Flemington. I thought she was just out there for a look.
Jason Coyle had?
Yeah, so it's gone to Peter Moody.
Oh,
Yeah, so
it's got a nose roll.
Has got a nose roll. So it's now this will be its target race. So it's a 1400 meter race. It's got to take on See You in Heaven, that speedy filly there. So she's about $2.10. Papali they've put up $26. I thought that was a massive price. Quiet trial. She hit the line beautifully at Flemington, and this will be a grand final. They're sending over Brian Higgins, Brittany Higgins, B Higgins in the form guide. $26, $6 a place. This is beautiful.
It's a weird horse.
I'll be launching that
It's got an engine. It's got an engine, Papali, yeah. And that's a dangerous
stable change.
Holy cow.
If you go back and have a look at its last start at Flemington, off the back of the quiet trial, this is a great bet. So I'm really keen on this one. Absolutely horned up. We'll probably send it before the show goes out as a bit of a unit play for the syndicate as well. And I think that's a lot. I think that's the end of the show. It feels like we got through super quick. But good luck out there, Nico.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. There's a few good races at Morphettville, actually. Insulation, a horse we sort of wanted to follow out of the yard last start. He runs via the nephew. I think he'd be beating him. And the Gouch runs in race number 7. It's absolute D-Day for him. So T panel goes aboard there for the Noonan family. So hopefully he can get the result. But it's kitchen sink chop for him if he's not winning on Saturday. So we think he'll run well, so maybe worth having something on him at double figures.
I think Insulation's a great bet. I think it was at Sale, the win at Sale. That was a pretty big win.
Yeah, come from the back, huge win, gets right down the weight, gives it, the nephew's got 61.5 and he'll carry 54, so probably a better horse too. So he looks well. He's been 290 and 225, but looks easy enough to find, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's race 4, number 8, Insulation, and the nephew. He did win at the shorts last week, but to my eye, he just didn't look like he got through that track. So I think it's a soft 7 at the moment, and I think it'll improve. There's clear blue skies.
You're a big weatherman now. You're a big Tim Bailey. I saw Tim Bailey the other day. He's about 120 kilos with a mohawk. So there might be a gap for you there.
It's just so hard to find bets. Like at the moment, if you just sit there and bet through one track, you can just get carved up so easily. So I'm sort of looking everywhere, all over the place to try and pick the eyes out of it. So
you're saying you've only just started that?
What's that?
You've just started doing that because of the tracks?
No.
Are you trying to justify you to yourself, or?
Anyway, back Insulation and
you're just a sick gambler that likes to just apply your talent across Australia. Don't hide behind it. Just bet.
That's what we're trying to do. Little Birdie Syndicate. So I think we're hovering around 60 units or something like that. So we're going all right. But I think the nephew can run a place. So you could probably nearly Cornella him up if you're as sick as me. All right, I think that's the end of the show. I'm sick of it, and we'll be back next week. But no Azza. DK hopefully will be over his little sniffle. And we'll hopefully get a better quality of fields. But hopefully we've left a couple
the
of
Rose
winners.
next week. It's got to be close. I don't know. It's just Sydney can only improve. So I think it's just warms up nicely from here on in.
We didn't even mention the other race, the other big
San
race.
Domenico.
Yeah, the San
Great
Domenico.
race. Yeah, it's probably a race. It's easy to talk about, but it's not easy to find the winner. I think it's a race to watch and learn from, a bit like that. You got the result out of Fangirl, but there was a lot more probably to learn from the barrier trials of others in the race than you got the result. That's amazing.
Corniche, you tipping that, Nico, in the San Domenico? Godolphin?
Nah, he was the biggest 2 I've ever seen. I don't expect him to improve at all at 3, so he might get the run of the race, but I don't think you could forecast he's going to improve sort of his ratings or anything. So my Saturday set for Sydney was Le Vampire. I thought he'd be extremely hard to beat. So that was me for Sydney.
Okay.
Agree. That was kind of how we alluded to. It's the one that you've got to make sure it's probably not going to hurt you. But it's a race of angles, that's for sure, like as I said. Yeah, Sydney's hard. Like the instructor, very short. I think Kandinsky Abstract's a really interesting horse.
But that'll be Golden Rose, won't it?
Yeah, for sure. But it still can sprint. It's a good horse. It's a bit 10 gate. It's at Libertad, similar. Very interesting horse. 10, 11 gate. Untouchable Legend can run a sneaky race from gate 1. I think it's not hopeless. Moravia, they've got a huge opinion of, but draws wide. That General Salutes, that horse that I remember at Warwick Farm, really impressive, and had a bad issue prior to that. So it could be anything. It's a really good race. Absolute cracker. Make sure it's a big watch and learn too. So make sure you jump on Nico's Telegram for free, and then jump in Walt's chat. So big learning opportunities, these cards, even though we sort of half pie bag them, you're going to find lots of winners out of them. So if you watch closely and listen to the boys, you'll find a lot of winners, and you'll stay in the game for longer. All right, big thanks to all our sponsors, and we'll see you next week. Can't wait.